Go ahead.
They scored 72 in the second half after 40-something in the first half. Did they change something? What happened to your defense in 72 second half?
Well, the boards were a big problem in the second half. Fouls were a problem in the second half. And, you allow a team to score with the clock stopped and don't do a good job with possession. And we had turnovers as well. So those are three pretty big factors. That said, we did a lot of good things throughout the game, but this is one we're going to have to learn from.
What was your vantage point on the big screen by Myles? Did you think it was clean?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the officiating. We're not expecting to get calls in here. It'd be nice if they laid off that one, but they didn't. So that's just the way it goes. I mean, we challenged it. They reviewed it. They got a bunch of people in New Jersey that agreed with them. So that's just the way it goes. So we got to learn from that too. That's a timing play. Both guys are involved. So we'll have to execute that better next time.
You mentioned the boards. Obviously, I think you only gave up 2 offensive rebounds in the first half. It seemed like clearly they executed that part well. What sort of flipped in the second, basically allowed them to get some seconds?
Well, this is New York's pattern. As the game goes on, they get stronger with rebounding and they crash harder and harder. And so, we talked about it coming in. It's something that is a major factor. And so, we had opportunities to come up with balls we didn't come up with. And in a game that's a one-possession game, it's it makes the difference.
Could you give an explanation on the kick ball that they called in the last game?
I didn't. I just watched the last 4 minutes. The angle that my feed had on it was a little bit distorted or covered, so I couldn't really see for sure. Aaron told me he hit it at his hand, but I don't know if it did or not. His leg moved a little bit, so they assumed it was a kick, but I don't know. I don't know that it was.
I didn't even know that was not reviewable. Did you know that that's not reviewable?
Yeah, we know it's not reviewable. There are only about four or 5 things that are reviewable.
Rick, did you see that as a kind of a series of unfortunate events happening in the last minute there? Did you see that as a composure issue for you guys? Like, how did you feel those things happening?
Well, there's so many events in an NBA game. I mean, there's always a sharp focus on the last minute, but there were things that happened with 5 or 6 minutes left that really hurt us. We had one play where one of our guys, took a wild run to try to gamble and steal the ball, and it turned into a 4-point play for them. And I think we had a 5-point lead at the time. And so, it's not just the last minute or two. All right, it's a whole game, the whole fourth quarter. And so this is great experience for our guys. It comes at a cost. It's no fun, but we're gonna have to learn some things for game 2.
Coach, how did you feel about the pace that you guys got to after the first quarter? It was sort of seemed like it was their tempo. You guys, I think it was 31 on 23 possessions in the second. It seemed like you guys kind of got it going the way that you wanted.
The pace is going to vary from game to game. New York is a team. They play fast at times too. So all that stuff will come out in the wash, I think. This was a relatively high-scoring game for a playoff game. The environment was unreal, and it was what you'd expect. And a lot of plays were made, and I'm proud of a lot of the plays that our guys made. They got down 4 with 2.5 minutes to go, and just completely kept their poise and scored 2 baskets. Then we had the ball, so. You can't overlook the good things that we did, but the things that were mistakes are things we'll need to learn from.
You mentioned them being able to just keep coming at you and coming on. Obviously, I think Brunson had 21 in the fourth. Just how did you see him hit another level?
Well, he was at the foul line a lot too, so we got to look at that. And look, he's really a great scorer. I mean, there's no question about that. But situations where we're using our hands and we're reaching and fouling, we got to look at that and see, what's avoidable. There was one time when we really were in his shift helping, and then he kicks it to DiVincenzo for a 3. So, they have problems you got to deal with, and so we'll have to look at all that stuff.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
What stood out to you defensively in the second half compared to the first half that this game got away from you guys on that end?
I just think, the rebounding really hurt us, and it gave them extra possessions, and DiVincenzo got hot from 3. Just as a collective, we need to be better rebounding the ball on defense, because that's been a focal point for us. We know they're a great rebounding team, and, we'll get that fixed.
What changed from first half to second half there? I'm thinking like you were 2 offensive rebounds in the first half. Did they do something different, or did you guys?
I'm sure they addressed it in the locker room at halftime. But, we knew that we did a good job on the glass, and they came out and just had more effort on that part of the ball. And like I said, we just got to get that fixed.
What do you and other vets say in the locker room after a game like that, with the ending having so many moments and that, were tough for you guys?
Yeah, playing in an arena like this and having it come down to the last couple of possessions, on the road in the playoffs, what more can you ask for? The ball didn't bounce our way, and just got to adjust and fix some things.
TJ, not all teams are going to press the full length of the floor the way you guys do. Did you feel like that gave you guys some advantages today?
We've been doing that all playoffs. Just trying to make whoever's bringing it up uncomfortable, and kind of trying to wind down the clock a little bit. And, but that's been something we've done. So we got to continue to do it.
You obviously had the Brunson assignment for part of that, and he obviously gets going, particularly in the fourth. Just what's the whole of that experience like, learning him right now in terms of how he's able to, especially how he's able to turn on the second half?
Yeah, just as elite of a one-on-one player as there is, it's a collective group effort, but he's playing at a really high level, so we gotta find ways to make it even tougher on him. You're not going to shut a guy like that down. You just got to make it really difficult.
As
GM
important.
Myles said that everybody's looking forward to the 2-minute report coming out. How do you turn those frustrations into positive changes that you can make for game 2 as a vet when these young players can be so emotional too?
Yeah, we can't worry about the officiating. They're just trying to do their job, and there were many plays that we could have made where it didn't even come down to that. So that's the stuff we got to focus on. That's something we can't control, but we can control, plays that we could have made to not have it come down to that.
TJ, I know it's no consolation, obviously, Zach's arm is still in order, the call on there, he's going to get ball violation, was correct, his hand, it wasn't reviewable anyway. But if that was called correctly in the moment, how do you think that throws changes the game and kind of sets the course of the final minute, 52 seconds?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, there were plays that we could have made where it doesn't even come down to that. So, unfortunate, but we got to move on and fix things that we didn't do well.
There's a last one. I was just going to say, as important as Tyrese is to what you guys do, what did the Knicks do to kind of keep him a little bit under control?
I think he's been a focal point for everyone's defensive game plan all year. There hasn't been a game where I've seen him, a team in drop coverage. He gets trapped every time he comes off a pick and roll. And the best thing about Tyrese is he won't force a bad shot. He gets others involved, and we trust him wholeheartedly with the ball in his hands every single time.
Myles, what got away from you guys defensively in that second half, they just scored 72?
we know they're a hard-playing team. I think in the first half we did a good job of controlling the boards, but that got away from us in the second half. You give those guys opportunities to score, they're going to take advantage of it. So on the defensive glass, then we got to be a lot better down the stretch.
Were you told anything about that legal screen? Did you think it was?
Just in my experience in this league, I think it's the best when the players decide the outcome of the game. I think it's unfortunate that it happened. We reviewed it; they still called it a legal screen, but it's the playoffs, man. I feel like DiVincenzo did a good job of selling it, and for the most part, you can't leave the game to be decided by the refs. So we have to take accountability as well. So of course, it's right at the game. I'm a little fresh with my emotions about it, but we know at the end of the day that we can't get to that position. So I think the last 2-minute report, we're all looking forward to that coming out. I think there was 2 controversial calls. We had to use our challenge on one call, Tyrese, and then the kickball by Aaron Neesmith that was not a kickball. You clearly see it on the replay. So, like I said, it's unfortunate, but it's just we can't put ourselves in that position.
You mentioned the boards changing. I think you guys only gave 2 offensive rebounds in the first half. Just what was different as far as what happened in the last quarter? What did they do better? What did you guys not do?
Well, we knew they were going to come out charged up. It's just it's a staple of the way they play, and we just didn't respond to that punch fast enough. So, the good thing is that's one of the things that we can control, and one of the things that we can win more in effort plays.
Myles, even if the 2-minute report comes out tomorrow and shows that the call should have gone the other way, like for you guys, it still counts like it's a loss. And how do you guys take that if that turns out to be the case?
We have a very young team, and my speech to them after the game was telling them, like what I just told y'all, you can't rely, on the refs at the end of the game, especially in this building. Game 1 on the road, it's kind of a tough position to put ourselves in. But we take it on the chin and we just get ready for game 2. That's all I can do. The best thing about this is we play every other day, so we make our adjustments, get ready to go on Wednesday, and don't look too much into the 2-minute report. It just is what it is. But I just think that there's going to be some glaring things there.
Might not mean much, but obviously that dunk by Obi in the playoff game, no less. What did you guys think of him having the audacity to pull that off?
Oh, man, we see him do it all the time. I'm not going to lie. He walks out of bed and do some stuff like that. So, juiced us up, obviously, but it's just nothing new.
What do you think you guys can do better against Brunson? He does that almost every playoff game, but do you think you've done better?
We definitely got to make, life a little more difficult with him. He's a special player, just plays angles very well. I think just keep throwing fresh bodies at him. We know he's gonna score his points. He shoots the ball 25, 30 times a game, so we know he's gonna get to his shots. But I think it's more so about limiting, their other role players. Someone like Josh Hart came in and had, a great game tonight and really juiced him up. DiVincenzo hit some big shots at the end. So it's one of those things where at times you gotta tip your cap to Brunson and then, try to do the job on the other guys.
It seemed like you were having a lot of success with hard dives to the rim off the screen and roll, not so much popping back. What did you see as an opportunity there in terms of the way they were playing the pick and roll coverage that gave you those lanes to the rim?
They were breaking off their coverage, rather quickly. At times when I pop, I see teams do that. Sometimes they'll do it just to try to get in the glass, but I just took advantage of what was there and just reading the defense. It's the playoffs, so we know teams are going to make adjustments, so that's what it's all about, finding out the reads as quickly and as often as possible and trying to exploit them.
What's the number one thing you need to work on tomorrow at practice?
Emotion is going to be a big thing. I think we lost our first game, in Milwaukee, and it's kind of like you hear a pin drop, like the next day. And, I don't anticipate that being, our morale or, what our team's going to be about tomorrow. But emotion is big. And 2, so we talked about the controllable things, the hard, showing hands, not fouling, not sending to the line to shoot 26 free throws, getting on the defensive glass a bit better. Those just to name a few.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks, Myles.